The next tab that we'll take a look at is the spellcasting entry tab. So regardless of what type of character you create, whether they're a caster or not, you'll start off with a spellcaster entry tab that looks like this. None of the building of spells is presently automated. So we can go and click on the Add Spellcasting Entry tab. You'll have several different types that you can have. Most spellcasting classes will either be prepared or spontaneous. Prepared meaning you have a spell book and you slot in spells for the day, or spontaneous meaning you have a repertoire and you can have signature spells that you then use to cast sort of at will based on a number of slots per level. From items or from feats, you can gain innate spells, the ability to cast cantrips or spells once a day. Then from certain classes, you can gain focus spells. These are spells that you can cast, and then you perform a 10-minute activity that's called refocusing, and you can get your slot back, as well as rituals. Rituals we've classified separately because they can take a very long time. There's no mechanical difference to adding them in. And finally, items only. This is for the Thaumaturge class, so I'm not really going to cover it here because it's not a sort of core feature. So you can select your type. So we'll start off with prepared. You'll notice there's a checkbox here marked flexible. This is for a particular type of casting that changes it to be a little bit more like 5e casting. It's an option from the Secrets of Magic book. You can select the tradition. So we'll start off with arcane. And for all your proficiencies, you can generally select your class. I've changed over our character to an alchemist so that we can do the crafting tab, as well as just the normal class DC, which you see over to the side. And you can select your different spell ability, whether it's strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. So for prepared and spontaneous, it's based on your class. It'll be likely your key ability. So when we start with prepared spells, we'll see that we have a spell preparation book. So to fill it up, I can open up the spell browser, and first I'll select cantrips for the cantrips that I know. So we'll say that I know these 5 cantrips, and then I can also add in the spells that I know. You'll see right now, if I try and drag in, there's no slots for me to drag in. I need to know how many different cantrips I can cast or how many spells I can cast at a particular level. This information can all be found in the class description. So let's say that I can cast 3 cantrips and I've got 2 level 1 spell slots. I can drag my cantrips over for the ones that I choose to prepare for that day. Same with the spells. And you can prepare the same spell twice. And those are the ones that I can use, so I know all the rest. But for whatever day it is, these are the ones that will be active. We can then try and add a spontaneous one. So we'll say these ones are occult spells, and we'll have wisdom as our modifier. You'll notice that here I get a +4. This is because I have +1 intelligence. Here I get a +3. This is because I have +0 wisdom. Same sort of idea, other than I can have infinite cantrips as a spontaneous caster. Any that are in the occult school that are common or that I've learned, I can add in. We don't suggest that you add every single spell. Treat this more like a short list, and then you can have a number of spontaneous slots per day. So we'll say that we have 4 spells per day. Once again, I can open up my browser. I will select a bunch of cantrips. And so you can see they're here. You can cast them an infinite number of times. And then I can select some level 1 spells. And you can have more than 4 spells in this slot, because as you get higher in your spell levels and you gain more slots, you'll have the ability to have 2nd level spells. And you will be able to make, as a spontaneous caster, some of them signature spells, which means they automatically can be cast at higher levels. You can also take spells at higher levels and make them signature, and if they're castable at lower levels, they'll appear at the lower level to be used as well. As I cast from my prepared spell list, you'll see that it crosses it off and it no longer becomes useful for the day. As I cast from my spontaneous list, it doesn't go away because I can cast these multiple times, but you'll see that it reduces the number. And that lets me know how many slots I have. Till I get down to 0 slots and I try to cast, I'll get an alert that I do not have sufficient slots to cast. I can reset the slots by using this button here, and that'll set it to 4 out of 4. Or I can use the rest for the night macro that's built in that will refresh, do the HP adjustments that are needed for resting overnight, and reset all of my spell slots. Our third type of casting is innate. This is the type that we get from say, objects or items. Typically, innate spells are almost always charisma based. And let's say that I learn the guidance cantrip innately. Now you'll notice that I have this ugly level 1 spell box. I can suppress that by using this button right here, and it'll hide any spell levels that don't have anything in them. If I drag a level 1 spell in, it'll come back. If I drag a level 9 spell in, because I innately know how to do this, it'll only put it in 9th. If I expand it, it'll add all of the empty levels, which you probably don't want to see, so it's a nice way to collapse. Then the final one that I'm going to demonstrate are focus spells. So focus spells come with a special focus pool. There can be focus cantrips, which will not take away, and there will be some focus spells that are leveled spells. Focus cantrips automatically leveled up. So we'll take Inspire Courage as one of our focus cantrips. You'll see it's in the cantrip. I can cast it, does nothing to the focus pool. Or I can take Inspire Heroics, which is an actual focus spell. As I cast it, you'll see that the focus pool itself drains. I try and cast it again, and I don't have enough focus points to cast. I can refresh for 10 minutes, come back, refill up my focus pool, and then I'll be able to cast again without a problem. If I rest for the night, my focus point comes back. And that is a brief introduction to how the spell tab works.